All of the colored sections in the map are owned by the government and are off limits to private property. Approximately 402 million acres, or 21% of the total land in the United States, is federally owned. Source: U.S. Department of Agriculture, February 2001. Is there a land grab occurring in the United States?
Radical environmental legislation and bureaucratic regulatory decrees which confiscate millions of acres to the government violates God's commands and eventually expand government control over every aspect of human society.
Nowhere on the planet, nowhere in history, was there a regime more vicious, more bloodthirsty, and at the same time more cunning than the Bolshevik Soviet regime. No other regime on earth could compare with it, either in the number of those it had done to death, in hardiness, in the range of its ambitions, in its thoroughgoing and unmitigated totalitarianism. Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
As in communist lands, it is not long before the state becomes sovereign and not the Lord. The integrity of the state is then destroyed because it is void of the goodness of the Lord, and the people soon become government dependents without dignity. For 2,000 years, Christians have believed that the transforming power of Jesus Christ is the key to life and all issues of life. In this segment, 3 clergymen representing the Protestant, Catholic, and Orthodox Christian denominations will discuss the principle of truth and how it relates to life. The purpose of the segment is not to favor one denomination over another, but to showcase the united testimony of Christendom on issues confronting mankind.
The right to steal. Stealing. Anyone can steal anything. I mean, we know there's car theft. We have the club. We have things to stop car theft. Jokes are stolen.
Sermon material is stolen all the time.
Sermon material is stolen. Mm-hmm. People can steal whatever they want. I mean, I think that there's a suggestion somewhere in the Old Testament that it might not be so good to steal. Well, those are called commandments, though. I thought it was a suggestion for a moment. You can steal if you want to. But like everything else, you can also drive 80 if you want to, but there's a consequence. At driving 80, usually you're going to get stopped by someone with colored lights, and he's going to write you something that's going to cost you money. If you steal, you may go to jail. If you steal and get away with it, you're still going to pay a price. There's still a responsibility, and that responsibility past this life is to God.
James Madison also said, conscience is the most sacred of all property, the external exercise of that being a natural and inalienable right. What is conscience that the founders of our nation held so highly? Noah Webster, another founder and educator, said, conscience is the principles within us which decide on the lawfulness or unlawfulness of our own actions, and instantly approves or condemns them. This lawfulness points to a law, a code of laws by which man is to govern himself. This code of laws is found in our conscience and is innate. More than that, if we truly seek to follow God, the Holy Bible declares it is writ by God on our heart through Jesus Christ.
With such a welcome, I'm getting the idea. And permit me to thank all those who helped or prepared these lunches. If there's one thing better than Southern hospitality, it's Southern cooking. I see you agree. You're going to have to forgive me, though, but, well, that fried chicken put me in mind of a story. Lots of things put me in mind of a story at every opportunity. Now, I've told this one, maybe you've heard me tell this one before, but if so, just forgive me. Remember that when you pass 40, the tendency grows to tell stories over and over again. This happens to be about a fellow that was driving down the highway and happened to glance out and noticed that running alongside of him, keeping pace with the automobile, was a chicken. And he couldn't believe it. So he stepped it up a little bit, and the chicken stepped it up a little bit. Finally, he pushed the gas down, and then the chicken just stretched out his neck and left him behind, crossed the road, and went down a lane. He slammed on the brakes, turned, and went down that lane. His curiosity had to be answered. And he pulled up in a barnyard, and there was a farmer standing there. And he said, "Did you see a chicken go by here?" And the farmer says, "Yeah, it's one of mine." Well, he said, "Am I crazy, or it seemed to me that chicken had 3 legs." He says, "Yep, I breed them and raise them that way." "Well, why?" Well, he said, "Ma liked the drumstick, and I liked the drumstick, and then along come Junior, and he liked the drumstick, and we got tired of fighting over it. So I raised him with 3 legs." And the fella, for want of something to say, said, "Well, how do they taste?" He says, "We don't know. We haven't been able to catch one yet."